Okay, everybody, we are live. Go ahead, Steve. You do your thing.
Sure. Well, it's a different time, but this is still JY and Steve. So we're back live on the big mountain.
There it is. I am coming live from Fort Worth, Texas. Behind me, you'll see the Tarleton State football, stadium that I was at just a few days ago for their shellacking of West Georgia. So I know, Steve, you've put up some stadium pics in the past. I had to use my Tarleton here. If I move my head, maybe you can there, right there at the top. You can see it. But anyway, but yeah, we're going a little later today because I was late. I had a dinner function. How's everything with my good friend Steve?
Well, everything's fantastic. This last week, great weekend of football. We got fall weather here in Pennsylvania, which is beautiful. I think everybody's favorite time of year. At least it is mine. So things are going great. I'm ready to make some picks tonight.
I am as well. I think you have 8 or 9. I have 7 or so. Check this out, Steve. I can go like this, and I can put people's comments up. And Brad says maybe JY got some late breaking realignment news for the Pac-12. Sorry, Brad, I do not. Bill asks maybe some media deal information. Sorry, Bill, I don't have that either. Other than what I tweeted out a few days ago, where Gloria Navarez said, it is very, very, very close. Again, I continually am told that it's in the lawyer's hand. The red line versions are being completed, and it pretty much just needs signatures at this point. You can believe me and believe that, or you don't have to. I don't care, but I know I'm getting that from a source within the conference, and I, for one, believe it. So take it or leave it. I don't really care. But I do have to do something, Steve. I'm not with you, but my last Tarleton State Texan rider, and I got to tell you, this can is freaking awesome, dude. Look at this thing. Wait a minute. I don't know why it's doing that. See that? And then on the back, it's from Revolver Brewery, the Texan Blonde, and it's my last one. They gave me a 6-pack in my room, and I'm gonna. Here we go. I'm going to pop that sucker open, and that's my Dweller Brew for the evening. Cheers, buddy. I will have the can when we return back to our wonderful abode in Pennsylvania. Or I do. You're there now. I'll be back in a week.
Yeah. It's been awesome. This Dweller Brew experience. One of our longtime fans, dwellers, viewers, whatever you call it, Sierra Nevada Sam, he kind of really energized this thing, so we appreciate that. It's been a lot of fun getting to taste all these awesome beers.
So unfortunately, I was able to taste the beers. Well, not unfortunately. Fortunately, I could taste them at Tarleton. Unfortunately, I did not buy any before I left Stephenville, and I could not find any here in Fort Worth. So I'm going to bring empty cans back, but I will be traveling to Colorado State and Wyoming. And my goal is to bring back both it is called Go Aggie or Old Aggie. I think it's Old Aggie for Colorado State, and then a Wyoming beer as well. So I need to hook up Sierra Nevada for Sam, hopefully, with some. And you know what? It's New Belgium, actually, that makes the they're kind of a national brand. New Belgium makes the because they're right there in Fort Collins. Anyway. All right, let me give another couple shout outs. We've got our good buddy and member of the channel, Las Vegas Larry, always giving us a happy hump day, fellas and ladies. Thank you, Las Vegas Larry. Tom Piper's loving the channel. He says we rock. Thank you very much. Late start, and he still managed to be late. Well, you weren't that late, Sergeant. We haven't even gotten into the picks yet, so you're good, buddy. You're good. We've got Mario here. Breaking news: Bronco Mendenhall returns to Albuquerque and get shellacked. At least he hopes so. That's a good storyline. Got a lot of good storylines this week in the Mountain West.
JY, have you seen the Lobos throwback uniform they're going to be wearing for this?
I have. Cool. I saw the whole video. Yes.
Yeah.
And the Pokes are wearing like it's all black unis with white. and they're calling it. They're doing like a coal miner theme. They say.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure how I feel about it because I love that brown and yellow. But
I like it a lot too.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, guess who's here, Steve? Our good friend.
Please, money.
Back in a live show. I know he's a Pacific Coast guy, Pacific time, so it's hard for him to get to the live shows. But cheers, Squeeze Money. It's good to have you on another live show since we're late. Hopefully, it helps some of our, Western time zone people enjoy the show live for once. We got Jerry from Rapid City, so welcome to him. This is cool. I can actually put these little thingies up. That
is cool.
So anyway, I don't know how I get rid of it though. Oh, that's how. Okay, Steve. Well, do you want to get started on your picks?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing we probably don't have the graphic this week with our records and all that kind of stuff. But
I was not able to do that. But I think you're continuing your positive trend. Are you not?
I am. I was 2-1 on my locks last week, and a half a point from going 3-0. There was a weather delay in Bloomington with Indiana. They were ready to. They were in place to cover fully. And then there was a long weather delay. When they came out, they just wanted to get out of there with a win. I forget who they were playing now, but whoever they were playing kicked a late field goal. They ended up not covering by half a point based on my picks.
Right.
So I was very close to 3-0. But I actually won the bet that I had on them because I got it like 1 point better. And still made progress. 2-1 on locks last week. I got 2 locks this week. So we'll see. Maybe I can have an unblemished lock week. We'll see. Oh, and I'm doing something. I'm doing something different this week, JY. Something I don't know if I've ever done before. I'm going to lock a game that's not a Big Ten game.
That's true. I don't know if you've locked an out of conference game or not, but I did see that. I'm thankful that you're picking that game because it's a huge G6 game. And I will say I was a little surprised that you were putting a lock on it, but we'll hold them in suspense until you get to that game. And for any Tarleton State fans, I may try to throw up a few picks later on of my time down at Tarleton State. So if you guys are interested in seeing a sneak peek at some of the Tarleton State picks that I'm going to have, and we'll have actually our producer's not with us tonight because he's working on putting that together.
Yeah.
So anyway, I might throw up a couple of Tarleton picks here that I have. We can talk about them, but let's get to our picks first, Steve.
Yeah, let's go. Let's roll right into it. So I got 7 Big Ten picks tonight and 1 extra. So let's roll right in the first game. A team we were just talking about, UCLA at Indiana. We just recorded our rankings episode for this week. I'm guessing that'll probably hit later on in the week before Saturday. So one team that we talked about that moved up a good amount was UCLA. Well, this week they're visiting Indiana. They're visiting Bloomington. That's going to be a tough place. They won, I think, 3 or 4 in a row. I have a hard time believing that winning streak is going to continue this week. Now, I still think UCLA is on a great trend, and we may see them pick up some more wins as the season goes on. But this week at Indiana, the line, Indiana is a 25.5 point favorite. I think Indiana wins this game. I feel very confident Indiana wins this game. However, I think UCLA, and with the way their offense has been going, I think they can keep this a little closer than some other teams have been able to with Indiana. So I'm taking UCLA plus 25.5 points. And I know Indiana's been on a roll. You and I have been high on them long time, dating back to last year. They're playing great. Everything's going great. I just think UCLA's offense, it has clicked. It's doing real well. Now we'll see, can they stand up to the pass rush of Indiana? That's really what got Oregon was the Indiana pass rush, got to Dante Moore, shook him up. He wasn't the same guy he's been in all the other games this season. So could that happen? Yeah, it could. But I just see the role that UCLA is on. I like them getting 25.5 points. I still think Indiana wins by, 2 scores, maybe like 14, 17 points, maybe up to 20 points. But I like UCLA getting the 25.5 points. So I'm picking them. Not a lock, but I'm picking them.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little surprised by the line, I guess, with how well UCLA has been playing here of the last, ever since they changed head coaches. But at the same time, how much trust can Vegas and the odds makers put into that, versus an Indiana team that completely dominated Illinois. They had that huge win at Oregon. But I like you taking the points, Steve. Like, again, Indiana should easily win this game, but I don't know if they win it by, 21, 24 points. So if you're getting 25, the way the UCLA offense has been playing, I like your bet. But I also like Indiana. So it's kind of weird to say I like you betting again or taking points kind of against them, but it's too many points the way the offense of UCLA is playing.
Totally agree. So I'm going to move on to a totally different kind of game with my second pick. It's Rutgers at Purdue. Rutgers is the 2.5 point favorite. And honestly, I struggled with this game because I think it really is a coin flip type game. Obviously Vegas sees Rutgers a little bit better than that, but Purdue they've been scrappy this year. They've been, not winning games, but keeping scores kind of lower than you would expect, keeping games closer. Rutgers has been kind of up and down. So I really struggled with this game, but when I really broke it down, I think Rutgers is just the better team. I think they might be a touchdown better. So I'm going to go ahead and take Rutgers to cover the 2.5. I don't feel super confident in it. And, who knows? They might win by 10 points or something. I just don't feel confident enough to lock it. But I am going to take Rutgers on the road to cover the 2.5 points.
Okay, sounds good. Purdue, they got shut out last week, didn't they?
I think
maybe you said that. I don't know. But
anyway. Northwestern. Yeah.
It
wasn't like a huge scoring game, but Northwestern did get a nice win.
Yeah. I mean, probably not a game. Are you planning on betting this game, Steve?
No, I'm not betting. Not at all.
Okay. I assume not. So, I mean, that's a close score. Honestly, I could see either team probably winning the game possibly, but I think your safer pick there is definitely Rutgers. So,
yeah. Okay. Well, moving on, Northwestern at Nebraska. Nebraska is coming off a very disappointing loss to Minnesota. Minnesota's a good, solid team. But I think Minnie kind of exposed some things in Nebraska. And if you remember last year, we kind of saw this with Dylan Raiola after about halfway through the season. Some defensive coaches started to figure him out. Minnie did a great job. I mean, they played their normal ball control offense, all of that. But Nebraska's coming off a disappointing loss. We'll see. I think it probably knocked them out of any kind of chance for the college football playoff. That was already kind of a slim chance kind of thing. But we'll see how they respond to that. I like how Northwestern has been playing lately as well. So I'm going to go. Nebraska's a 7.5 point favorite, but I'm going to go ahead and take Northwestern plus the 7.5. I think it's more likely that Nebraska wins the game, but you may see one of those things. Sometimes teams, they respond in a certain way. They lose a game. They really had high hopes. They lose to a team that they thought they would beat, and maybe there's a little bit of hangover after that. So I'm combining that chance of a hangover with, I think this could just be a close game. Northwestern's played a lot of close games against better competition. They're coming off of a good win. So I'm going to go ahead and take Northwestern, take Northwestern plus the 7.5 points, because I think there's a good chance. I think Nebraska probably wins, but I think there's a good chance that Northwestern can keep this under a touchdown.
Yeah, Moses agrees. He thinks the Northwestern-Nebraska game here should be a pretty good game, probably a pretty close game. So, to your point, if you're getting over that touchdown in a good close game, that's probably a pretty good bet. That may be one that I actually take. I always like to do a teaser, get a little extra points. So I may tease that up to like a 10.5 type of spread with a few other games there for Northwestern. But I may actually put this in a teaser parlay for myself there, Steve.
Yeah, last week from last week, you put together a pretty good one there. I kind of had forgotten about teasers. I'm not a big parlay person.
No,
but the teaser takes some of the risk off.
Yes, right.
And so I think maybe going forward, I was thinking, you know what, I'm going to take my locks. And if you ever do make locks again, or you just have some picks you're confident in and kind of combine them in a teaser, I think that would be pretty cool.
And I think that's what I did. took 3 locks last week and put them in a teaser. And I'm
Yeah.
not remembering them right now. I think Oregon was definitely one of them, if I remember. But anyway, yeah, I find them to be a little fun. I think some people say they're sucker bets, but I don't care. I'm a sucker, so let's do this.
Yeah. The biggest thing I've always heard is for teasers, they say, especially in the NFL, which we're not doing that, we're doing college, the spreads are usually different. They say never tease over the 0. I don't really understand why, but that's what I always hear is never tease something over the 0. Like, if they're if they're minus 1.5, or I mean they're plus 2.5, never take it over the other way or whatever. So
yeah. I usually I only tease a few points. I mean they'll come up with like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I rarely tease that much. I'll tease 3.5 or 4.5 or something like that is what across the 3 or 4 games that I'm picking. I give them an extra field goal.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so next game, Minnesota is coming off that really nice win over Nebraska. They are traveling to Iowa to Kinnick Stadium. It's a difficult place to play. Iowa is an 8.5 point favorite. I gotta say, well, first of all, before I give my pick, Gronowski, a guy that we've been talking about, he's a transfer from South Dakota State. I just saw recently he's already setting Big Ten records for rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, all kinds of things in a single season, and we're like halfway through this season. So it was a rough start for him, not as good as I thought, but he's really been able to use his legs. He had against Penn State, he had like I think a 67-yard run or something like that. It was like the longest run that they had allowed to a quarterback in 20 years or something. But the guy, maybe he hasn't reached the levels that I thought he could with his arm, but he's played better and better and really been a weapon with his legs. So, they're at Kinnick. They got a quarterback that I think is getting better and better and being more of a threat. However, I really do like how Minnesota is playing. If you take out that weird road loss to Cal and you look at the rest of their schedule as a whole, they played really well. They played well last week. The line is 8.5, and we always like to joke about Iowa, like they might only score 10 points, kind of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and take Mini plus 8.5. I think Iowa likely wins this game. It's at home. I like how Gronowski's playing, Kinnick Stadium, all of those things. But I'm going to go ahead and take Mini plus the 8.5. I like how they're playing. I don't know that I'm going to bet this game. If it was like 10 or 10.5, I would definitely bet it, and I would probably lock it. But I still like Mini with the points, with the 8.5. Over a full touchdown. I like it.
Good friend of the show here, Brad, says he's going to be at this game, Iowa and Minnesota. He says he may actually try to find us a Dweller brew. That'd be fantastic. Get another Big Ten Dweller brew in the house. But yeah, I mean, Mini's been playing well, and I want to give a couple quick things. We're able to do this through StreamYard on both YouTube, which is our primary channel or primary whatever. But I'm also streaming on my X account. We have upwards of almost 150 people. So I know I have some people that follow me on X that don't always necessarily tune in to the shows very much, but just know that we do pick Big Ten and Mountain West every week on the YouTube platform. And we're not able to do it on X. We are tonight. So I just wanted to bring that up. And the other thing, you mentioned this earlier, but we talked about some of these teams being in our power rankings, and I'll get that out tomorrow. Minnesota moving up. I'm not going to say where, but moving up in our rankings. This is a pretty big game for these two teams. They're very close in our rankings. So I like you're now 3 of your 4 picks, you're taking points, and I like all 3 of them. Again, those 3 that you're taking points, UCLA, Northwestern, and Minnesota, to me, that sounds like a daggone teaser when I'm giving them an extra 3 points, because then they're all over. Those 2 are over 10, and UCLA is close to 30. So I think you're setting me up with a teaser right now, Steve.
I can never blame anybody for taking the points.
I hear you.
So you mentioned your X viewers, how you're streaming on X tonight. I would say just for them, you should join us every week on our YouTube channel. It's fun. Get in there early, participate in the chat. There's always a fun chat going on. And and we can highlight some of your comments. Like JY was just bringing them up tonight. We're using StreamYard, but in the past we've also done that where we read comments and answer them and all that kind of stuff. So come and join us, man. I know X can be fun. It's like crack. It's like crack on your phone. But these YouTube channels, it's a good time as well, especially the live episodes. And you can come join the chat, be a dweller. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I'm not going to put up Sargent's comment right now because it has to do with UNLV, but I'll try to remember to put that up later when we get to the Mountain West. He's crapping on his team's defense here just a little bit. So anyway, Steve, I'll let you keep. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that's been a recurring theme all year.
Yes, it has. All right, you are going to another big matchup here. Two teams that again we have pretty high up in our power rankings.
Yeah. So next pick, number 5 for this week, is Illinois at Washington. This is going to be in Seattle at Husky Stadium. Washington is actually the 4.5-point favorite. I was a little surprised by that, I will say. But when I thought about it more, I do look at this game as kind of a coin flip game. I think Illinois probably finds a way to win, but it's not easy winning playing at the Huskies. That's a hard place to play. They're both pretty solid, good teams. I think Illinois has a little bit more experience. Washington with some of those young stars, Damon Williams, their running back. They got some good talent on the edges. So I look at this kind of as a coin flip game, and I think Vegas is giving them maybe a little bit of extra points instead of just 3 points, giving them a little bit of extra points because it is such a difficult place to play. So I'm going to continue a trend, JY. I'm taking Illinois plus the 4.5. I think they're just a bit better of a team. This will be a very close game, I expect. So anytime the game is close and you can get 4.5, basically over a field goal, I don't mind taking them at all. And I think Illinois is the better team and is more likely to win. So I'm taking Illinois plus 4.5.
Man, there it is. There's my 14 teaser right there. UCLA, Northwestern Illinois. Mini. I like doing teasers with the teams getting points. I just give them a little more.
Yeah. And really, you get in Illinois, if you're doing a teaser of 3 points, Illinois getting 7.5. I love that all day, every day.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
All right. I'm switching out some of our slides here, Steve. So okay. You're doing great, though. Let me remove this one. Are you ready for the next game?
I'm ready.
All right.
Okay.
Here we go.
So this next one is a total different story than I think any of the games we've talked about so far. This one is Wisconsin, one of the worst teams in the Big Ten, traveling to Oregon, playing at Autzen Stadium. Oregon, to me, is one of the top 3 teams in the Big Ten for sure. Oregon is a 32.5-point favorite. Now, JY, you get over 30, and I start getting shy about it. And 35, I don't even want to mess with. But this one, I mean, Wisconsin, there's nothing about Wisconsin that we've seen all year that shows me that they are anywhere capable of having any kind of a close game against Oregon. I think Oregon can just score as many points as they want to. If they put the pedal to the metal the entire game, we could just see a game like Indiana and Illinois, where just a total complete blowout. I don't know that they'll go that far. That was a very unique game, but I think Oregon's still a little bit pissed off from that loss to Indiana a couple weeks ago. They have so much talent. Wisconsin is not going to be able to get anywhere near Dante Moore like Indiana did. I think he's going to be able to stand back there and just pick them apart. I don't know. I mean, the Badgers have had a rough season, but I don't know if they're really fully prepared for what they're going to be going into. A game at Autzen, pissed off Oregon team. Dan Lanning has shown when he wants to score points, he doesn't care about anybody's feelings. So I'm going to go ahead and take Oregon to cover the 32.5. As I said, I hate games with lines this big, but I feel so strongly that Oregon is really going to want to hammer them, make a statement, pedal to the metal kind of game, that I'm taking Oregon to cover those 32.5.
No, I hear you. I mean, Wisconsin just struggling to score any points, been shut out, this season, and Oregon, a team that can put up the points. And we're in the second half of the season, so any thought of any of these teams, especially in out-of-conference play, maybe holding back a little bit and not going like Oregon wants to show we're now in the, you mentioned it, people hear you talk about this on the power rankings. We're getting close to the first CFP rollout. I mean, now's the time you've got to start making an impression. And Oregon's a team that can certainly do that. So I know you don't like these big spreads, but you've got one of the best teams in the Big Ten versus probably the worst team, right? So it's worthy of the spread.
Yeah. And Oregon is a team, they have that loss to Indiana. But, they get back on track here. If they can find their way, maybe one of the top two teams has a loss, they can find their way in the Big Ten championship game and really get a high seed in the CFP, like you just mentioned. And I think right now is the time they want to make an impression. They're pissed off about the loss. They know the CFP rankings are coming up. So I love it. Oregon to cover the 32.5.
Squeeze Sounds Money says by a lot.
Yeah. A lot.
Yeah. A couple other things. Squeeze Money also says, go Illini, Huck the Fuskies. Good thing I haven't had too many Dweller brews yet because I wouldn't have said that correctly. Huck the Fuskies. And Chris says Illinois wins. I know he is. Illinois wins by 2 scores. So you got a couple people here thinking that Illini bet is a very strong bet. Did you think at all about locking that game?
Illinois and Washington?
Yeah.
No. Okay. The biggest variable there, going on the road, 3/4 of the way across the country, and just a place. I think Illinois is the better team for sure. If this was on a neutral field with that point spread, I probably would lock it. I think definitely I would lock it with that. But where they're going, Husky Stadium, it's not an easy place to win. It just isn't. That really shied me away from locking it.
Okay. Okie dokie. You have one more Big Ten pick.
Yeah, so coming up next here is Michigan traveling to East Lansing to play Michigan State. Michigan is a 14.5-point favorite. We have seen some little bits of progress from Michigan State this year, but a lot of it's been same old. Not as much progress as I would have liked to see this year. And honestly, East Lansing playing there, I don't remember, it's Spartan Stadium. I forget what the name of the stadium is. It's not that much of a home field advantage. Ann Arbor's just down the road. There's probably more Michigan fans that live within 50 miles of East Lansing than there are Michigan State fans. So I don't really see it as a big home field advantage for them. And I think Michigan is just the better team. They're not where they were 2 years ago, just firing on all cylinders and all that stuff, but they're almost as physical as they were back then. And they've played some games this year where they were just able to out physical people. I think they'll be able to do that again this week. I don't think they're going to have any problem. I think they're going to be dominant on both sides of the line of scrimmage. I just think they're a lot better team than Michigan State is right now. So I'm taking Michigan to cover the 14.5, and I'm making that a Big Mountain ice cold lock. Any thoughts from you,
Awesome.
JY?
Unfortunately, we don't have any of the cool
graphics
logos that our buddy would put up. Yeah. But I was a little surprised that you were going to lock this because Michigan State shown that they're a bit of a better team. And Michigan has had a strong season. So I'm not surprised by your pick, but I am a little surprised that you're locking it.
Yeah, I think the came down to for me, I don't see any home field advantage. Michigan, I think, has gotten stronger and stronger. They had that one blip in the road there against USC. But Michigan State, they just recently played UCLA, and UCLA whooped them pretty good. I think Michigan is going to be able to score their running game. I don't think Michigan State's going to be able to stop them at all. I think they could just score on the running game and let Bryce Underwood make some plays here and there. And vice versa, I don't think Michigan State is going to be able to score much, if at all, on Michigan. Again, just the way they're so physical. I think Aiden Childs, again, made some improvements, but not as much as I expect to see. So when you got still kind of a young I don't know if we still call him inexperienced, but a young quarterback that hasn't taken those strides yet. And if you shut down their running game and you force that young quarterback who's still making mistakes to make the plays, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. And that's why I felt so strongly to lock it. I think Michigan wins by 20, 25 points probably.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, then you've a nice lock there if you have it that big. I don't think we have JEH on tonight, but he would be loving the fact that you're locking against Coach Smith there in Michigan State. Let's see. Sargent says he wants chaos. Oh, he says he's going to take Michigan State with the upset.
Yeah, I don't see how it happens. I mean, it could happen. I'd be very surprised. Let me tell you, there's no way I could make an argument right now and cite reasons why I think Michigan State could upset, unless the Wolverines, the entire team, gets the stomach flu and is on the toilet for kickoff.
Okay, well, there you have it. Steve likes this pick, and when Steve likes a pick, I've learned that I can trust it most of the time. So, all right. Well, you have one more pick, Steve. That's right. Almost 70%. Yeah. You have one more pick. And like I said, I'm glad you're picking this game. This is not a Big Ten game. This is an other game, as we call it, or out of conference game. Let's do it. I'm anxious to hear what you're going to say.
Yeah. So these are two teams. If you watch our G6 rankings, we've talked about these two teams a ton. Two of the best American Conference teams, two of the best G6 teams in the country for most of this so far this season. So this is South Florida at Memphis. South Florida is the 4.5 point favorite. Now, something interesting, Memphis lost to UAB last week. And I think UAB might have led pretty much the whole game, if I remember correctly. And in that game, Memphis quarterback Brendan Lewis was hurt. He was seen wearing a boot on the sideline. And I've been following this one really closely this week. And everything I'm reading up to the latest update I had was from about 6 hours ago that I could find. It really sounds like he's not going to play at all. I'm going to guess he's not going to play at all. Or it might be one of those things like the Hawaii quarterback a little while back where he tried to come in and play and he just was not effective whatsoever. So honestly, I just think that South Florida is the better team. I think they're the best G6 team in the country. I think if they were in either the ACC or the Big 12, I think they'd be competing for the conference title this year. Memphis, a very solid team. I think we've had them between first and second or first and third in our rankings all season. Very solid team, and the game is in Memphis. But with that quarterback situation, I probably would have already picked South Florida to win. You combine that with the quarterback situation, I'm taking USF to cover the 4.5 points, and I'm making that I think my first ever outside the Big Ten, Big Mountain ice cold lock.
That's awesome. You and I were consistent a week ago with USF being the number one G6 team. I think they've proved it. I think Memphis has a very, very good team. They have a very difficult schedule. And this is an awesome game. But I would, if I was going to pick the game, I would also pick USF minus 4.5. I just think they're the team to beat right now, no doubt about it. In the G6, Squeeze Money says USF. Joseph says USF will have their way with this one. Chris says he's thinking USF is going to take this one too. But Surf City Bill says, let's go Memphis. So, we love to have a little bit of difference of opinion in the chat.
I'm going to guess that Surf City Bill has some ulterior motives and maybe is still holding up for Boise to get that G6 spot and would love to see the American just cannibalize themselves.
That could happen. Because, you say, well, we want USF to win to strengthen Boise's schedule, but that doesn't really work because Boise lost to USF now. So So they need USF to lose some games. Yeah. Okay. And okay, here you go, Steve. You ready?
Yeah. I think he just wants chaos in the American,
And I think I will be surprised if there isn't chaos in the American. If I'm a Boise fan, you are rooting very hard for Memphis in this one, because as I've been saying, Memphis's schedule down the stretch is, I don't think they're able to win out because of the schedule that they have. So you want chaos. You want Memphis to win this. You want a bunch of 2 and 3 loss teams, at least 2 loss teams, at the top of the American. It's the only way Boise gets in.
Yeah.
And they have to, of course, Boise has to continue to win, and they have to win the Mountain West too. Like, let's not forget all of that. But
and honestly, if they're hoping, Boise's hoping, like you said, a bunch of 2-loss teams in the American, and then they can compare their schedule. If they can be 2-loss Mountain West champion, they at least got a chance to say, hey,
right.
The games we lost, they were tough. They were real tough competition. One other thing I want to say about Memphis, because you've mentioned all season when we talked about them how hard their schedule is. Here's the thing about that is we all expected them to beat UAB. Like, their schedule was hard, right, even including UAB as a potential cupcake that they should have beaten. UAB makes a coaching change. All of a sudden, they're beating the best team in their conference. That's got to be a huge surprise for Memphis, and I'm interested to see how they navigate that. Do they come? It would be amazing for them to get this win over USF and just have everything go crazy in the American. But
right,
does that kind of burst their bubble, losing that game to UAB? Now their quarterback is out when they're playing the best team in their conference. This thing could go either way. But I just think USF just the better team already. Well, I thought they'd be slightly better. I would have picked them probably over Memphis at 4.5. Now with the quarterback being out, that's why I had the confidence to lock.
Okay, there it is. And there are all of Steve's picks. I like a lot of them, and I will be assuming that I can. I'm pretty sure my FanDuel account will be. It is unable to work here in Texas, but of course I got last weekend's game, my bets in before I came to Texas, and I will be in Colorado tomorrow. And fortunately, both Colorado and Wyoming allow FanDuel bets, so I'll be good to go. I don't have them in yet, but I'm going to get them in.
Fantastic.
Just as a reminder, I know we have almost 200 people. JY's still living large in Tarleton, Stephenville. That's Tarleton. That's the game from Saturday when they took a beating, or they didn't take a beating. They gave a beating to the Wolves of West Georgia. You can see pretty much packed. It was a sellout. I'm going to give you some more clips, and I'll have a video for everyone later. I'm drinking a Dweller Brew from Tarleton, the Revolver Blonde Ale Texan Rider. It tastes like a blonde ale. We've had several blonde ales, Steve. I think the last two we did were blonde ales, the New Mexico State and UTEP, and it's a blonde ale. It tastes kind of like those beers because they were blonde ales. So anyway,
well, can we talk maybe just about Tarleton real quick? Not about your visit, but just in general the program. In a year where there's a lot of scrutiny on them, they are being highly considered as one of the next FCS teams to move up to FBS, and they're knocking it out of the park. I mean, they start the season early with a win over Army. I think I saw they're number 2 in the FCS rankings, the last rankings that came out last week, potential playoff rankings. Another big win, great crowds. Like, they're not as flashy maybe as some other teams, not trying to advertise themselves as much as some other teams who are looking to go up from FCS. But man, are they putting together a great resume. What a great time to have another fantastic season. There's got to be so much excitement there for them in Stephenville.
There's a ton of excitement. It was a phenomenal experience. Alumni base, donors, fans, students, big student section. They're an A&M university, so they have the Corps of Cadets, about 138, if I remember correctly. Got to shoot off the cannon, Steve. I put that video on my X and on our Instagram. I was going to show that tonight, but I don't.
That's the highlight of Tarleton's season so far. JY shooting off the cannon and going, woo!
I hope not, but woo! But yeah, I mean, it was a very, very cool experience. They treated me very, very well. And I had the discussion with AD Urias, put that up on Monday. I'm guessing we'll get the visit of all the facilities tour and thing. I'm hoping we can get that up this coming Monday. And yeah, very cool. I got to meet the band and the band director. Foul Play is that's the pep band at the basketball games. So they wear Foul Play.
Okay.
Yeah, I got some band merch. I got to have the band merch. So anyway.
Did you tell them you were in the basketball pep band in high school?
I don't think I did, but I was. Yes, I don't think I brought that up. All right, let's get to my picks, and then I'll show some pictures of Tarleton State. So the first one is Nevada. This is Friday night's game, Nevada versus Boise State. The line 21.5. I may surprise some people here, but Nevada has been playing much better. They do have a good defense. They have the D lineman, LaBarbera, is leading the nation in tackle for losses right now. And so I'm going to take the points with Nevada, 21.5. That's probably going to surprise some people, but I do like this defense. I think they're finally starting to get their offense going a little bit. And I'm not saying Nevada is going to win this game. It will be a double-digit win for Boise. But if it's a 3-touchdown win, I still win the bet at 21.5. So it's just too many points here for me not to take the points. If this was in the teens, I'd be saying Boise covers. I think it's a good line. I think it's right there in that 20 to 22, 23 range. So I'm going to take the points with Nevada. I'm sure some people are surprised by this. But I just like that where Nevada's at right now. This team is not giving up. Yes, they only have one win. They easily could finish with one win. I've been saying that. But they're not giving up. They again, good defense. So I'm taking the points here, Steve.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe I'm slightly surprised, but not a lot. This kind of reminds me. What was the game that I just picked? UCLA and who was it? Was it Indiana?
Indy. Yeah, Indy.
Yeah, Indy. Where one team is going to win, but there's just that amount of points. You think they can keep it closer. It doesn't surprise me that much. I do have a question for you. Do we know has the QB situation in Nevada settled itself? Do they have a definite starter? Oh yeah, right there. Same question. Squeeze money.
Squeeze money, and I promise. I know Steve could not see that before I put it on the screen. So you and Squeeze Money thinking the same thing. I think they've completely moved on from Purdy. The last, I believe, 2 games. I'm drawing a blank on his name. I think it's Jones, is basically playing. And yeah, Brett says it's the freshman. And you're going to have mistakes with a freshman, but Purdy just wasn't the guy. He could run the ball, but he couldn't. I mean, he struggled to not throw interceptions. At least with a freshman, you could say, well, he's a freshman. Like, he's going to make some mistakes, and we're going to just build for the future. So thank you, Brett, for putting that in. They have moved on. The more reps he gets, the more starts he gets, the better he's going to get. He's still playing against Boise. They are right now the top team in the conference. And Surf City Bill, he has it as a 20-point win, 35-15. I think that's a very fair assessment of the score. And again, that's a 20-point spread, and I got 21.5. So fair assessment there from the score, and I agree with you. So
I'll tell you. So I watched every minute of the Boise UNLV game. Fantastic game, and the score ended up very separate, a big gap in the score by the end of the game. But for a while, it was very back and forth. To me, I really think the difference, Boise had some great things going on offense, but to me, the difference was watching that Boise pass rush reminded me a lot of last year towards the end of the year and as they got into the playoffs. Really dynamic pass rush. They were able to get home with just the regular pass rush. They had some really unique blitz packages, which again, just like last year, where and now it's escaping me. What's the UNLV quarterback's name?
Calandria.
Calandria. A lot of times he just did not know where it was coming from. And yeah, he's an athletic guy. He can get out of the pocket and all that stuff. But when you have no idea where the blitz is coming from, it's rough. So I'm really interested moving forward for the Broncos. If they can get that pass rush back to where it was towards the end of last year, the sky's the limit for them. Now, there might also be a limit where they can go through and win the big or win the Mountain West and not get to a playoff. But
right,
they've got that thing rolling.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is Friday's game. We're going to move to the Saturday slate. We have Utah State versus New Mexico. I'm excited for this game. I think this is two fairly even teams. Of course, Bryson Barnes can be and has been a difference maker for the Aggies this year. He is back to being pretty healthy again. The line here, only 3, which makes sense. A close game there. I'm going to take the points with Utah State. I'm a little surprised, actually, that Utah State is the underdog in this game. I think they are probably just slightly the better team. I like the Lobo team here, but with Bryson Barnes, he's that X factor that I think gives them the edge. I'm happy to take a field goal here if they slip up a little bit. So fair. I'm not going to lock it, but I would say this one wasn't too hard because I have Utah State probably winning this game straight up.
Yeah, this is an interesting game. You have Broncos' most recent team versus his current team. So I'm guessing there's probably a little maybe hard feelings one way or the other there. And two teams for me, they've overperformed my expectations. Both teams. I know we were both hopeful the Lobos could do well this year, but I think they've done a lot better than anybody would have expected. Utah State, Bronco, he usually turns teams around quickly, and like you said, Bryson Barnes has been fantastic for them.
Yep.
So just a very interesting, close game. Broncos, two most recent teams. There's so much going on with this game.
Yeah.
And the Lobos bringing back that throwback uniform. I think they haven't worn since like the 70s. It's like an aqua, really cool retro uniform, in my opinion. So a lot of things going on with the team. I don't have any comments about your pick because to me, either team could win and I wouldn't be surprised. Both just doing well this year.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if UNM wins the game. I'll be surprised with Chris's prediction that UNM wins by double digits. That would surprise me. I think it's a one-score game one way or the other, and that's why I take the points in that type of situation here with the Aggies. And yeah, I'm fortunate so I didn't get to watch hardly any Mountain West this past week because I was busy all day at Tarleton State. I saw a little bit of the Friday night game, and I didn't get to see any of the Boise UNLV game. I saw a little bit of the Wyoming Air Force game, but just super busy at Tarleton State, which was honestly the first weekend of the season. I haven't really watched Mountain West football. It was kind of weird, but it was also a great experience. So I'll be able to watch pretty much every Mountain West game this week. I watched the Friday night game. There's the 2 games going on simultaneously, this one and the Florida State, San Diego State. I'll be able to watch kind of back and forth on them, and then I'll be attending the Wyoming game. So I like the matchups here, and I'm thankful I get to actually see these games. Jerry says he digs the Aggies in this one, and Bill says Lobos by 2. Yep, close game. I'm with you. All right, let's go to the other midday game. Yep, go ahead.
Let me say real quick. This is the first time we've used StreamYard for one of our live episodes like this, and I love when you put up those comments because you can see their avatar really good. Because sometimes when you watch on YouTube, that's beautiful. I mean, look at that. What is that? Palermo Bobcats? Like, that's freaking fantastic. Love it.
I agree. Why can't I? Well, I was trying to put some more up. That's a drum set, which is awesome because I'm a drummer. So
yeah,
well done, Chris. And then we've got I don't know what that says. Huck ducks.
Yeah. Huck dogs.
Muck dogs.
Okay.
I think it's muck dogs. Yeah, and then of course you've got your wonderful Boise State flag. All right,
Yeah.
let's go to or no, what he's a Boise fan, but that's the wrong colors. What is that, Surf City Bill? I always thought it was a Boise flag, but now I just realized the colors are completely funky. So I
It
don't
might
know.
be faded.
He'll
It's
let
a
me know.
flag to the sun.
I don't, okay, we'll go with that.
Okay.
So he'll let us know. All right,
Yeah.
I did Utah State, so now I'm going to San Diego State and Fresno State. Heck of a game right here. Heck of a game. I think this is the game of the week in the Mountain West. Although I love the border war, being a Wyoming guy, this is the game of the week, and the line here, another 3-point line. So you know, I got to take the points again here with Fresno State. I honestly don't know who's going to win the game. I don't know who's going to win. I have to pick because we track the straight pick here. I'm gonna say San Diego State wins it straight up, just because their defense has been playing lights out. But I have to take the points in this game because I think it will be close as long as my good buddy EJ Warner doesn't throw more than one pick. I'm going to give him one pick. He's allowed one interception, but he can't throw any more. All right. So that's the contingency on this being, taking 3 points. And that's asking a lot for this kid because he throws a lot of interceptions. So anyway, yes, Squeeze Money says another great game. It is a fantastic game. He's taking SDSU. They seem to have things more put together than Fresno State. I get it. That's why I say I'm going to split my picks. I'm taking San Diego State straight up, but I'm going to take the 3 points with Fresno State on my real Big Mountain pick.
Yeah, Squeeze Money's avatar there looks like it's either like a black hole or a sphincter. I'm not sure.
Oh, jeez, I don't think it's that at all. And yes, it is a Boise flag because that is the right B for Boise. It's just the colors had me.
I think the colors are faded. They remind me more of like the early 2000s colors, and I think it's just faded because you can see it's on a flag. That used to happen to my Penn State flags all the time.
And he says that is in the California sun.
Yeah. See? Don't doubt me, JY. Don't doubt me.
My apologies. My apologies. Jerry is going to be going with the Bulldogs, however, in this one, and I get it. Again, it's tough for me to pick a straight up winner in this game, which is why I'm taking points.
Can I say real quick, JY? I think these teams are very interesting at this point in the season because early in the season, Fresno really looked like they were building momentum, and then they've had a couple hiccups, I think, recently. San Diego State, we came in low on them. They had some, a couple games early where it was looking like maybe they weren't very good this year again. But now they're just winning games after winning games. They got a lot of momentum going on. And we talked about this in our ranking show, if they keep winning, like at some point you got to think of them as one of the better teams in the Mountain West this year. Maybe we already should be thinking about them in that way.
Oh yeah. They're absolutely on track to be one of the top. And honestly, they have an in right now. And if they win this game, the Aztecs, to me, they're top 4, along with UNLV, Boise State, and Hawaii. Those are your top 4 teams, in my opinion, assuming San Diego State wins this game, which I'm saying they will. I think that's the top 4 teams in the Mountain West. And I think any one of those 4, any 2 of those 4 have a shot at making the championship game. So I'll be honest with you, like, would I like to see UNLV and Boise have at it again? Sure. At the same time, we saw it twice last year. We already saw it once this year. I'd love to see Hawaii or San Diego State. I'd love to see somebody else get into the championship game. And hell, at this point, it could be Hawaii and San Diego State. That to me, that would be a phenomenal championship game. Like 2 new teams that, who had them in the championship game. They have a path to it. I would love to see the Aztecs and the Rainbows going for the Mountain West championship game or championship.
I got to go the other way. I want Boise and UNLV one more time. Like, it's just been so great. And honestly, this last game, the score, you look at the end, the score, and you're like, oh, they won. I forget what they won by 20 points, maybe. Boise. Yeah. But I'm telling you, through like 3/4 of that game, you still were thinking, you know what, UNLV can come back. They've done this before, and it was like a heavyweight fight. Haymaker after haymaker. and Boise just had more haymakers in them on the blue carpet at home. Would the game be any different? The championship game's in Vegas, right?
The home team. The home team.
Oh, the home team. Okay. All right. Well, if it's in the blue carpet again, that might be bad news for UNLV. But I want it one more time. I want it one more time. I can't get enough.
Well, we've got a lot. We've got a mix in the chat, Steve. We've got Moses going with San Diego State. We've got Jerry going with the Bulldogs. We've got Brady. He says he would lock San Diego State and mentions they just haven't looked real good here in the last 6 quarters of play. Nevada and versus. We've got Squeeze Money going with San Diego State. We've got Surf City Bill going with the Dogs. So we've got quite the mix. We do have Joseph saying, Warner's too much of a wild card. I get it. No matter what talent he has at quarterback, his throws are too unpredictable. Actually, I would say they're kind of predictable. He throws a lot of interceptions. I'm kidding, by the way. Apparently I'm punch drunk. I'm not punch drunk. I'm Tarleton drunk. Let's keep this real here. And you know what? Somebody asked me a question up above. Let me go back. Oh, Joseph asked me, is this my first time in Laramie? It will be my first time ever in Laradice. And they're going to be so kind to give me a tour. So you guys might get 2 facility episodes next week, one for Tarleton and one for Laramie, Wyoming. So yes, I'm very much looking forward to that.
I love Lindley's avatar there. It looks like maybe Mount Rainier. I'm not sure, but it's beautiful right there.
Jared says, go Dogs. He's our good old Bulldog fan. So I'm telling you, we're pretty much split 50-50 here between San Diego State and the Bulldogs. So, all right, let's go to the one I will be attending. Oh, there you go, Steve.
Yeah, I thought of Mount Rainier.
You see, this is why he's my good friend, everybody. He is full of knowledge. All right, going to no. So going to the game I will be attending. I'm super excited to be in Laramie. It's probably going to be this is a 5:30 kickoff, I believe it is, in Mountain Time Zone. So I'm sure by the end of the game we'll be probably into the 40s. But line here, 5.5. We all know that Coach Norvell has been fired, so he is no longer coaching CSU. I saw today Fala Nicolosi is now no longer a part of the team, so they don't have to make a quarterback decision because Fala Nicolosi is not even there anymore. So Brousseau will, I'm sure, be at quarterback. And, you've had this in the Big Ten, Steve, when you have these kind of changes and turnover, you don't really know what that's going to mean. Look at UCLA and what that did for them. So it is definitely a wild card in these games. But I will say I will be taking Wyoming at -5.5 in this game. There's just nothing about Colorado State that still I don't really trust it. Yes, they beat Fresno State. I watched that. Fresno looked like shapoopy in the first half of that game. Just did not show up at all whatsoever. So I'm definitely taking Wyoming here in this game. The Wyoming defense is absolutely for real. Probably one of the best defenses in the Mountain West. The offense has just been the issue. So I talked about some changes at CSU. Wyoming has changes as well. Jay Johnson is out calling the plays. They're moving up Boo Knight. I'm not saying that correctly. But anyway, the wide receiver coach to be the offensive coordinator and to call the plays. There's been a lot of kind of issues with fans and certain people with how plays have been called. I think they're overusing the pass game. I like Anderson, but I think they're overusing Anderson, especially when J. Mike hasn't been playing and he was limited here this last game. So I'm glad a change was made. Nothing against Jay Johnson, but it needed to be done. The issue with the Wyoming Cowboys is the offense. So let's hope that a change in play calling. Bo Knight. Thank you, Jared. I knew I didn't say it right. Bo Knight. And he spelled it so that you can say it correctly. That's not how it's really spelled, obviously, but That's how you say it, Bo Knight. And so anyway, I just like the Pokes here in this situation. CSU's they're kind of a hot mess. I listened to Weber's press conference, and it's kind of like, he does what every AD does. We're going to turn over every stone and scrub down everything, and this isn't where we want to be as we're going into the Pac-12. And of course they're not, but they're a mess right now. Like, they're a mess. So anyway, I've said a whole lot. I don't know what I said. What do you think, Steve?
Did you make a pick? I can't remember if I heard you make a pick.
Yeah, I took the Pokes -5.5.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. It kind of sucks how CSU has been such a mess. They go through this coaching change right on the eve of the border war, which should be one of the biggest games of the year in the Mountain West. Wyoming's had their own problems as well, as you highlighted with the offense. So they haven't been perfect either. But it's still the border war. This is, with CSU leaving the conference, is this still going to be an annual tradition? We'll see. I don't know. And so I'm excited about that, and I'm really excited for my good friend JY that he's going to be at that game. You're going to be in the booth, correct?
I think so. I have to confirm that. Yes.
Okay. So I'm really happy for you. Did you ever think when we started this almost 3 years ago now, or two and a half years ago, that this would have taken you to the border war to see it in person, potentially be in the booth, and all these other games? So I'm really excited for you. You get to go up there, be in Laradice, represent the Big Mountain, and just hopefully you have a lot of fun there. Hopefully the game's good, and I'm hoping that the Pokes come through for you and get a win, and possibly, we don't know what's going to happen in the future with the border war. So this is a great time for the Pokes to get a win.
Well, the border war is they did book it for next year now. That was announced just a couple weeks ago. Then they right now will have a gap year, but I have a funny feeling they're going to get that figured out during the gap year. And then they've booked like 4 or 5 in a row after that. So it's okay, pretty much, they're pretty much good to go. I think there's 1 year off right now, but I'd be surprised if they don't get something figured out. I think this is going to continue, maybe one gap year, but it'll continue for quite a while. And thank you. I'm also looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to visiting. We do have our good friend, Steve, Justin, Go Pokes in the house with another $20 super chat. So kind of him, as always. Disappointing loss to Air Force. I'm glad Wyoming made some changes with the play calling. Bo Knight, super excited about that. Hope Wyoming scores more often. I do as well. And, I just want to say this about Air Force. I see a couple comments. Like, you can't – people – and I'm not saying just Justin is doing this, but I've watched a lot of Air Force this year. You and I were at the Navy Air Force game. I've watched them a lot. This offense, if you look at their stats and you watch them play, they're as good as the stats say they are. Zarka is a phenomenal dual threat quarterback, very difficult to stop. And I want to go back to what I said about the defense of the Pokes. Holding them to the points that they scored, was it 24? I don't remember the finals, 25, whatever it was. That's a win. And the Pokes should have won that game by only allowing 20, whatever it was, points to Air Force. We lost the game, or the Pokes lost the game, because of the offense. And the change was made, had to be made, was made. We need more offense, just like, Justin says here, want to see him score more. People shouldn't judge that loss as they lost to a 1-5 Air Force team. That 1-5 Air Force team is a better team than their record, and their offense is absolutely legit. They're not done winning games. I guarantee you they're not done winning games. Super scary offense. So I'm not making excuses for Wyoming, but don't judge it, they lost to a 1-5 team. That team is way better than 1-5. So it is what it is. There was one other. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
I'm just wondering, again, Justin, just a fantastic friend of the show, has really supported us, over the last couple of years quite a bit. I'm I'm wondering, is Justin, is he going to be at the border war, and are the two of you going to get to meet and have a beer together?
I don't know if Justin's going to be. He can let us know. I do know that our good friend that we had on, I think one of our very first guests, he will be there, and I'll be able to meet him. He'll be tailgating in, I think he said it was tailgate lot 40 or section 40 or something like that. So I will let people know where I'm at if people are going to be at the game. Would love to meet up with people. And I know at least I will be meeting him. I'll probably be downtown on Friday. I hear that's the place to be Friday before a game. I believe the band is in town playing some songs. Hopefully they're playing the beer song because we played that at IUP as well. In heaven, there is no beer. That's why I drink it here. And when we're gone from here, my friends will be drinking all my beer. So anyway, Justice says, no, he is in Farmington. So he won't be able to make it. Anyway, okay. Let's keep going because we have a couple more and we're past our hour. Not that my wife cares because I'm not home right now, but that's okay. I have a couple more here. I have the Toledo Washington State game line. I was surprised here, Steve. 1.5, basically a pick 'em line. I don't get it. I think Washington State takes care of business in this one. If I was to lock any game, this is the game. I know it's out of conference for me, but this would be the game I would lock. I know they have 2 close losses to ranked teams, and they've been losing some games, but like this is almost a lock. I'm not locking it because I don't do that anymore, Steve. I'm over that. I'll sing beer songs and drink beer, but I'm not going to lock a game. But this one I would lock. I like the Cougs only -1.5.
Yeah, that kind of is a strange line, but like we talked about on our ranking show, the Cougs, man, they're hard to figure out. They did have 2 very close losses recently to good teams. So I think maybe you're a little bit more positive on the Cougs than I am. But we talked about our ranking show. They have a stretch coming up here. If they win this game, Toledo, they've got 2 games against the Beavs. They've got Louisiana Tech, and they have JMU. JMU is a pretty solid, really good Sun Belt team. So we'll see what happens with that going across the country. Yeah. But man, for the Cougs fans out there, if we've got any of them listening, they win this game, they got a chance at going on a run here and putting together a good record this year.
Agree. Squeeze Money says go Cougs. Getting better every week. Had 2 close losses here. I think they take it to Toledo. Toledo kind of disappointing for me this year. I thought they were going to be the team to beat in the Sun Belt. Hasn't quite played out that way. And Joseph also says they've also barely beat terrible teams. Yeah, and that's true too. But I agree with Squeeze Money. I think they are getting better. And yeah, so that's who I'm going to take. The last one is NIU versus Ball State. A team here that just struggles to score points here with the Huskies. I'm not a big Ball State guy either. I think they're a flawed team as well. Line is 5.5. I got to take the points with Ball State just because I think it's a low-scoring game. If it's a field goal, heck, you got to take the over field goal points here. So I'm going to take the points with Ball State. I apologize, Husky fans, but they all know what's going on right now. It's not their year. The offense just isn't there, struggling with quarterback play and whatnot. And I'm not betting this at all. I'm just committed to picking Husky games. And unfortunately, I'm not picking the Huskies. I'm picking Ball State.
Yeah, I have this as a coin flip team or coin flip game. Just 2 real flawed teams this year. I'm hoping the Huskies can kind of get back on track, get some momentum leading into next year when they enter the Mountain West. But I don't blame you for taking points in this game because both of them they can't both lose. So take some points and you'll be all right.
Hey, I'd be okay to be wrong in this. I want the Huskies to get some momentum, as they come towards the Mountain West and join the Mountain West. Kyle says, hopefully they can turn it around as they head into the Mountain West. I agree with you, just not going their way right now. And, Gotta get the offense figured out just a little bit more than what they got going on. So last thing I want to do here, Steve, is just throw up a couple pictures. I have one video. I think it'll work. We're going to try it. Never done it on here before. But here is just the front entrance to Memorial Stadium there at Tarleton State. Of course, they've got a cowboy on a bucking bronco, and they've got one heck of a rodeo team there in Tarleton State. I think they've won, they said, 41 national titles, and they are the cowboy capital of the U.S. or the world, maybe. I don't know, but at least of the U.S. Then here's their weight room. You've seen some of these, I think, in some previous pictures. Super cool weight room. The one thing they talked about a lot was just the way they kind of have done lighting. You can see the lighting up top. It's not just your normal, like, straight on. They have a lot of different curved lines and things. It's hard to see the back wall, but they did a lot with just like the architecture and making things different than what you might see in a lot of places. This is just the main weight room for any sport that wants to use it. And then here, of course, is the football locker rooms. Again, we've seen some of these pictures. The cool thing that I was able to do was actually took the facility tour with both AD Urias and Assistant VP for Campus Operations, David Walker, and David Martin. I got to get the name right. Hold on, I got his card. David Martin. I don't know why I know a David Walker, but this is David Martin. And I actually had him do some voiceovers in video, and one of them was in the football locker room. So you'll hear that when we get that up as well. And, Squeeze Money's saying what you have said many a times, Steve, looks better than some FBS locker rooms. And I think you would say better than maybe some Big Ten locker rooms.
Yeah, I mean, look,
before they upgraded them recently. State
looks better than Penn State's did, 5 years ago. And I'd put them for FBS schools. I'd put them right at the middle of their facilities.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to run this video. This is the as they came out onto the field for the game. We're going to give it a shot, Steve. I don't know if the video is going to work. If it doesn't, we'll just start talking again. But they made a cattle chute now. The team runs out of a cattle chute, and you couldn't see it. They swing the door open like a bull's coming out. They got that gate, the metal gate thing in like a rodeo. They swing that sucker open and blam. Well, you can't really see it because it's in between the stuff here. But you'll get a feel for what the opening kind of on when the team comes on the field is like. So we're gonna hopefully this video is gonna work here, Steve.
Side effects of witnessing the Tarleton State Texans may result in feelings of euphoria and exhilaration. Do not be alarmed by the intensity on the field. It is a natural reaction to the Texans' relentless pursuit of victory. Remember, when the Texans take the field, they compete with honor. Your discretion is advised. Texans are here.
Tarleton Nation, please welcome to the field, John
Yeah.
All right, so there you go, Steve-O.
Yeah, that was really cool. The video may have been a little choppy and jittery trying to do it live here, so hopefully we get some more of that maybe on the other episode. But looked really cool. I think my favorite part was the horse rider coming out and riding around the field twice and then doing circles in the middle. That was really cool. Looks like a great environment.
So there's a story behind that. They used to hire somebody to do that. Now they have a student, because of course they have a rodeo team. So that's a student that does that. And I know there's haters of everyone, but that was obviously pregame. It was a sellout. You saw some empty stuff, but they filled up once they have a pretty good tailgate. Let me tell you, they have a pretty strong tailgate, and they shut it down to get people into the stadium for game time. But there's some slackers that take a little bit to get in there. But it's a strong environment. I'll tell you that.
I'm sure there's some double B's out there in the tailgate, some barbecue and beer, plenty of those to go around out there. Yeah.
Go ahead, bud. Sorry.
I was gonna say, and I love the announcer saying, basically, prepare yourself for an intense environment when they came out. He hyped that up pretty good.
Yeah, they had actually free beer in the tailgate section. They were giving out free revolver blonde ales. So yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. There was no craziness, but it was a good time. Unfortunately, I don't have the cannon shooting here to show tonight, but you guys can find that either on our Instagram or my X. Was very, very kind of Joel, who is the he has a title, but he's the head cadet that leads the cadets and everything. He invited me to shoot the cannon, and I got to do that. You know what's funny about that though? I had no ear protection, and I'm like, this should be fun. But being behind it, it really wasn't that bad. You don't want to be in front of it, but it's also, when you know it's going to go off, it's not a big deal. When you don't know what's going to go off, it scares the poo out of you. And you can watch a few people behind me. They jump just a little bit because they didn't know it was going to go off, so it's a little funny. But anyway, I couldn't tell you about the beer in the stadium because I was partaking in free beer. So I don't know what the cost of the beer in the stadium is. Unfortunately, I don't have an answer.
JY, I've known you for 35 years, I think, and I'm pretty sure that was the first time you ever shot off a cannon that I can remember.
I believe it was. Yes, I believe it was. They were very kind. They showed me what to do and what not to do. And I will say the amount of smoke that came out of that thing was impressive. It was impressive. And I just have to agree with Squeeze Money here. Everybody knows I'd love to see Tarleton State join the Mountain West for all kinds of different reasons. It's not because I'm a huge Tarleton State homer or something. I think it's a huge win for the Mountain West to get into the state of Texas. I think this is an up and coming program, yada, yada. I won't go over all that again. But I also agree with Squeeze Money here just about kind of, what happens to fan bases. And we heard this with the NIU fan base about those weekday games, those Wednesday night games, what that does to fan bases. They're not there on a Saturday for a full afternoon of tailgating or morning of tailgating before going to the game. It's hard to get to the game. And yeah, I agree. I think it's the most likely that they probably are headed to CUSA here to move up into the FBS ranks. But that is a big concern, I think, for anybody. And that's what those conferences have to do to get the media deals that they have. And I'm not, I don't want to judge that. That's the decisions they made. But it definitely can wreak a little havoc on the fan base. So I just put that out there and kind of agree. That's a good comment. Thank you, Squeezed Money.
I want to add to that. You and I are both major fans, massive fans of Commissioner Gloria Nevarez. In Gloria we trust is kind of our one of our catchphrases around here. And so I have faith. I have complete faith in her, leading the conference forward. Now, any conference is made up of a lot of different members, and you have to get everybody on board. And sometimes, even if you want to do something, you're the commissioner. If your membership isn't for it, it's just not going to happen. I don't know really that that's the case or not. In this case, I don't know what the holdups were. We thought before maybe it was governance or whatever. But I'll just be straight up. If Tarleton, if they move up, I think they're the best candidate in the country right now to move up to the FBS level from FCS. And if they move up and go to Conference USA, I think that's a major loss for Tarleton. I think that's a major loss for the Mountain West, all the way around. I think it's bad all the way around, in my opinion. It would be a good win for Conference USA if they could get them. But in my opinion, I think the Mountain West, they need to move on this. Hopefully they can all get on the same page at some point and make that happen. Because like you said, the market there getting into Texas, as we've talked about so many times, would be so huge. And the investment that Tarleton is making, they are the up and coming school. There's honestly, I think they're, one of the best candidates, not just this year, but over the past 3-4 years. I mean, would you rather have, I'm not trying to bag on Sam Houston State, but right now, if you had to pick one between Sam Houston State and Tarleton, even though Sam Houston State's already up at that level, who would you take? In my opinion, 10 out of 10 times you would take Tarleton. So I hope they move on it. I hope they can make it happen. If not, I think there's a lot of losers, people that are going to lose out if they go to Conference USA instead of Mountain West.
Yeah, and I just threw up the home stands for Saturday's game. Is it a huge stadium? No, not a huge stadium. There's plans. They just opened the EECU Center. I didn't put any pictures up. You'll see a lot of that on the episode that I do for the facility tour. But that's a great new facility for basketball, concerts, all kinds of stuff. It's a great facility. And I was told that they're going to focus back on football again to kind of make the away stands or the other side of the stadium somewhat similar to what you're seeing here on the home side. They have huge, they call it Mount Tarleton there on the end. I don't know how many freaking steps and rows it is, but it's massive. So they're not done investing. And I just want to say this too. The amount of conversations I had with people all across the board, staff, alumni. I've talked to some students. They didn't really say this because I'm not sure they quite maybe understand it, but definitely alumni, staff just said how much President Hurley has done and meant to Tarleton State since he's got there. I think it's 6 or 7 years now. Just a dramatic shift in leadership, in advancement, in his goals, and in his vision for the university. And something that you saw, like a lot of the facilities we were in, they were talking about 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, right? Renovated or added on to or new, or like it is dramatic. And it's I don't want to call it a diamond in the rough. It's not in the rough. It's glowing right now, and it's there to be harvested. And they're not done. Whatever you see today is not going to be what they have 2 years from now, because they're just continuing to invest and grow. And anyway, we're turning this into a Tarleton, love fest, and that's not what I meant to do. But it was a great experience.
I'll say one last thing on the topic, and then I'll shut up. Okay. Imagine, even we have a lot of big programs leaving to go to the Pac. I totally understand that. But imagine how much fun a football conference, let's say 2 years from now, if we have all the programs that are remaining that are staying, plus you add, let's say, a North Dakota State and a Tarleton, imagine how much fun that would be, just football wise. Like, I'm not looking at the finances, but just football wise, I think that would be fantastic. And I think both of those two new programs would compete right away. They wouldn't be doormats that are just hanging on and just a body. They would be competing right away, and the football league would be fantastic.
Well, let me ask you a question since we're on the topic. This is something, and this isn't from Tarleton. This is something I've seen from North Dakota State fans say that FBS and Mountain West or whomever, MAC, whoever, they don't want to invite us because they know we're going to run their conference, and they're scared that we're going to come. And I'm paraphrasing here, but we're going to come in and we're going to be, and they don't want us to beat them, so they're just not going to invite us. Like, I know my thoughts on that. What is your counter, or what is your thought on that type of comment?
I will say that presidents of the universities are the decision makers, and that's just it. Like, the commissioner doesn't really make decisions of any conference, not just Mountain West. It's the presidents of the universities, and I think presidents of universities, they're the two things that they care about. One is money, because that's just the way it goes. And I think they do care about academics and that kind of stuff too, as a president of a university. But the big key factor is money. And I don't know, with adding those markets and those kind of things, I don't know how that would affect financially. But usually presidents want to protect their piece of the pie or make it bigger. And I think that's more likely to be the big holdup. But I say, coaches look at things differently. And I think both North Dakota State and Tarleton would come in, be very competitive. I'm not saying they'd run the league, although North Dakota State, man, they got that opportunity. Yeah. I mean, they're already operating a high level playing football. But I don't think that's what's holding it up. I think it's more likely money. They're just trying to protect their piece of the pie or increase. They don't want to give up anything whatsoever, even if it could make the conference better long term. They don't want to right now take away anything from their budget. And all these budgets are already tight. They're fighting for every nickel and dime. And people will say, oh, they have their budget $60 million or this or that. While that money's already allocated for, is spent, and now they're fighting for donations, everything, nickels and dimes. I think that's more likely. There's probably just no guarantee that if they add an FCS team, they're going to get any more money in a media deal or anything like that, at least immediately. Now, 5 years later, when the media partners see how awesome that football league would be, maybe then. Right. But the presidents that are in these universities now, half of them will probably be gone in 5 years. So I think it's just a short-term financial decision that's holding up. That's just my opinion.
No, I totally agree. I don't think the presidents care one iota that North Dakota State's going to come in and win a championship in year 2. Hey, let them win a championship and go to the CFP. Then everybody's making more money because they share that freaking money with everybody, right? Like, so yeah, I don't really buy a whole lot of that at all. That they're not inviting them because they don't want this team, and it's mostly the North Dakota State side. They don't want them coming in to run the football, beat everybody, and it just doesn't make any sense to me at all. Why? And you want your football conference to be good because that drives eyeballs, which drives media. Like, it's counter to everything that you just said. To say we only want to add bad teams because we want my school to win an extra game this year. Whoop-de-frickin' do. A bunch of 6-6 teams. Nobody wants to talk about them. People want to talk about the 11-1 Boise State. People want to talk about the USF that's beating Power 4 program. Like, that's what people want to talk about. They don't care if you're 9-3 or 8-4. They don't freaking care. So anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. You can tell I'm not at home because I'm just sitting here talking to you, Steve.
Yeah, I would say that's something, and I'm not going to disparage the Bison fan base because they're great. We interact with them all the time. They're ready to go. Like they're confident. They're ready to go. So I'm not saying this to disparage them. I think that's just something that average fans would say, who don't really understand how the financials of major college football work. That's just they are so focused. They have a competitive team. They are so focused on how competitive and good their team is on the field that they're overlooking the financial aspect to it.
Well, let's finish with this. This is a great comment. And if I was more prepared for tonight's episode, we may have talked about this, but thank you, Joseph. The best FCS game of the year this weekend, North Dakota State versus South Dakota State. Holy shnikes, number 1, number 2. This is the game. I know Joseph's going to be watching it. I know he's going to be watching it. And thank you for putting that in the chat. We would not have done our dwellers justice to not talk about the Bison versus the Jackrabbits, for crying out loud. And I don't know enough about these teams, but I'm sorry, Jackrabbits fans. I just can't bet against the Bison. They're dominant.
Well, the Jackrabbits, they don't have Gronowski. Gronowski, is that how you say his name? They don't have him anymore. He's chopping up he's running up and down these Big Ten fields. So unfortunately, they don't have him anymore.
Very good. Well, Steve, it is getting late in your neck of the woods, and thank you for pushing this for me so we could do this here tonight. We will have our power rankings episode out tomorrow, and we will have more good content next week. And I'm going to hopefully, if I am in the press booth on Saturday for the Border War, I will absolutely be doing a live pre-show and maybe a live halftime show. We were told we couldn't do that at the Air Force Navy game. I'm not sure if that was just a Navy thing or maybe I made a boo-boo when I was up in Akron. I don't know. If I can do it, I'm going to do it. So if you guys are interested in that live stuff, I'll be doing that on Saturday. So appreciate all the chatter in the chat. Steve, stay well, my friend. I'll see you next week.
Have fun, buddy.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Smash that like button, and we'll see you next time on the Big Mountain.